I started my TPT store in about 2014, and I was looking at the analytics the other day, and it's mesmerizing how I was able to go from 1 month, $0 to $800 months, and then it went drastically up from there. Now, if you're new here, hi, my name's Amber. I'm a former elementary teacher that sold on Teachers Pay Teachers. I hit 2 milestones in insane short amount of time, and now I work in ed tech. I've been in the ed tech space for about 6 years, and I am head of content strategy for an ed tech company. Why am I bringing it up right now? When I was early in my ed tech career, I really neglected my TPT store as well as my Instagram. Although I brought in passive income every month, I didn't take the time to update any products, to rotate the storefront, to follow the ever-changing product updates that TPT was dropping. I just let my TPT store sit there. I kind of didn't really care, and I know that sounds pretty ridiculous for me to say, and it wasn't until recently I decided, what the heck are you doing? You are making this money on TPT. You could make even more if you just make small changes to the products you currently have. I'm sure eventually I will create new products, but why don't I put my products in the face of more people? Up until this time, the only thing that I had was, thankfully, tons and tons of high-ranking SEO blog posts that gained so much traffic. I have blog posts that have thousands of shares, as well as I would routinely pin these blog posts on Pinterest to drive traffic on my Instagram, and I still to this day haven't shared my products on social media since I have no longer been a teacher. It kind of felt a little weird, if you will. I feel like I might want to share my products at some point on my Instagram, but I'm solely focused on teacher marketing for now. The reason I'm bringing this up is 2 reasons. The first one is, notice how I said I was making money on my store without showing up on social media. So many people feel because they're chasing that clout and that shiny object syndrome, I'm guilty of it too. We feel like if we're not sharing posts on social media, our store will be unsuccessful. And that's not necessarily the case if you have other strategies to support your business. For me, at the time, it was blog and it was Pinterest. Now, that being said, over the years, I am still making and I'm very surprised how much money I make every month. Now, it's nowhere near the numbers that I would make before. I'll put some screenshots on the screen of some of my months that I had. Let me stop monologuing so I can tell you what's happening. In this video, I'm sharing the small changes I made to make a big difference and increase my revenue month over month. So keep watching. If you didn't notice, I had to change my shirt because I live on the beach and the AC is not the best. The location is chef's kiss. That said, I have to turn off all of my air condition whenever I film a video. And if you stay to the end, you will probably notice that I will start sweating. And I literally take moments sometimes to just like walk away. So let's talk about the things that I did. The first thing, like any good content strategy, I started auditing my content. I started making a list of products that I knew would probably sell, had the potential to sell during this short window time frame and desperately needed an update. For example, I looked at resources coming up for the following month as well as the end of the month, since I started doing this at the very beginning of the month. That way it would be easier for me to see a return in a short span as opposed to, say, updating a holiday product that was months down the line, although desperately needed, would not give me the immediate return that I was seeking at that moment. The next thing I wanted to look at were my evergreen big ticket items. These are my bundles that can be sold at any time of the year, and if they had small changes made to them, somebody would be more inclined to buy. I was just talking to someone about this in Teacher Marketing Society. A lot of times when there is so much opportunity of what you can do and the possibilities and potential is endless, it can feel like you're literally in the middle of an ocean and you're trying to figure out, how the heck do I get back to shore? It is so much easier when we're able to create steps to reach a milestone and we're able to really create an actionable plan for a goal. It's more likely to take place. I'm sure you've looked at your TPT store and you've been like, where on earth do I start? And you just sit there wondering, what am I gonna do? And then you end up swirling into different things, not knowing if it's going to funnel up to your goal. So I did not want that to happen to me, because I've definitely had that happen to me, and I started by making a list. What were the products that I wanted to emphasize that I was going to update? And knowing that if I updated these core products, I did my job. Of course, I'll update other ones down the line, but these were my core that I wanted to start with. What people call things, what people call strategies, those change over time. So I wanted to do some keyword research on Teachers Pay Teachers to see if the products that I wanted to update are still being called those things and where I fall in the ranking category. So I started to type in different keywords related to the products that I sell, and I started with just one. And then I started to assess, are these products that are popping up related to my product? I also started to do competitive research. What keywords are they also using that I could use that is relevant to my product? Remember, we never want to keyword stuff, and we never want to use words in our product description that don't represent the product, because not only is that going to hurt you like down the line, it's also going to be misleading to your buyer because they're going to think you provide something that you don't. So don't be a player in the SEO game. Was that weird? Was that weird? I'm sweating. I can just feel the sweat in the back of my neck. First thing I do, because it's the lowest hanging fruit and it doesn't require any design work, is that I updated the title and description to reflect the keywords that I wanted to be found. And I also made sure that the keywords were enticing to the buyer. I like to call this the stranger test effect. If a stranger were to read your description without knowing absolutely anything, can they decide easily what it is and why it's valuable? A lot of times we are so close to something that we skip over the minute details in our description because we think we don't need it. However, I know before I buy something, I comb through it so deep, and you have to understand that there's buyers that do that too. So, easiest thing I did was I started with that. The second thing I did to this product was I updated the covers, the thumbnails, and the preview. I wanted to make sure that the design still looked clean, however, it still popped in a sea of a bunch. A good test of this is look off to the side and then look at your image and where do your eyes draw? Does it draw to the right thing that you want the design to draw to? Because that's going to help you determine when they're scrolling really fast if that lesson cover is going to pop. Another design tip that I did that I mentioned is I updated the previews. Let me just be honest, I did not want to update previews. I did not want to do this, but I knew I needed to because people are more likely to buy when there's a preview. I created a template in Canva, and when I created this template, it has a very simple why you should use this, how you use it, what's included, and then some happy testimonials as well as how to find me. And I just started to replicate that slide over and over and over again in Canva for all of the products that I wanted to update. I'm a firm believer in a good template and framework in order to get you to scale your business. Because if you're starting from scratch every single time, you're never gonna get a quarter of the things done as the people who are able to use templates. That doesn't mean you don't have space for creativity, it just means you're giving yourself a stepping stool to keep continuing moving forward without getting burnt out. With these products, I told you what I did is I audited my list and I made a target key hit list of products that I wanted to update. I updated those titles and descriptions. I made sure I used proper keywords that were reflective. I also updated the cover, the thumbnails, and I used a Canva slideshow in order to create a preview. Now after that, only for the ones that I was like, ooh, Amber, you have to do it, I actually updated the products themselves. To be clear, what I didn't do was add a ton of new stuff to these products. I updated the fonts. I made sure that the alignment, now that I have years of design experience and not formal design, but because I've been in ed tech for so long, I'm designing a lot of stuff. And I am so glad I updated them. A positive to updating these products is also notifying my buyers when I update, which then reminds them that I'm back in the game and I exist. Talk content, because I'm sure the things that I'm talking about with you, you're like, I know I need to do that, but like, when am I gonna do it and how am I gonna do it? And again, little changes make a big difference. Notice that when I said this, I didn't say I did my entire store. I started with a few. And thankfully now what that means is the next time I do this wave, I work in bursts when it comes for something like this, is that I'm gonna pick a couple of new products, I'm gonna update those, and then those are good to go for a while. So Hang in there, you got this. Okay, so now let's focus on the content itself. I told you early on that what I was doing to drive traffic is my blog. I audited my blog and I looked at what content do I have where I am talking about those products that I sell. And I made sure that I was updating those blog posts because I don't know, what is it about the TPT community and we always center all of our text, but actually you should not be centering your text because I can't remember the exact percentage. I believe a reader retains 11% less of what they're reading when it's centered text versus when it's left aligned. So I went and updated all of those blog posts. I made sure that it was updated using keywords, updated SEO. I wanted to really make sure those blog posts were just gonna rank even more. That way, when that drives more traffic, it drives more traffic to this updated post that they're more likely to buy. And so I really wanted to double down on that. I also started to look at what content do I have already on my blog that I haven't actually promoted some of my products. And that was huge because I realized I had some gaps in how I was connecting the dots, and that was helpful for me. And then notice what I just said. I said that I was focusing on updating blog posts and I was focusing on updating products. I never said I was creating anything new. To me, that's like a different mindset. Because of that, and I'm still working on this stuff, I definitely noticed that there was content that I was missing that I need to promote these products. And so what I just did here is I started to make a list and I put that list in my backlog. Now, I talked pretty heavily about the power of a backlog and why it's important to have a set of running projects that you want to do that are tied to something, a part of your business, but it's just not what you should be working on today or even this week or even this quarter. However, having it listed helps make sure that you don't forget. When it's time to look at what your goals are for the next quarter, you can look and see, are these things an actual priority? I have a list of blog posts that I need to write and I will get to it soon. The next thing I did was I audited my blog for all of the free downloads I had on my website because remember, when I started this, I wasn't in ed tech yet, I was a teacher and I didn't really understand a quarter of the marketing that I understand now. And it's so funny because all the things I preach to y'all, I went on my website and of course for Teacher Marketing Academy and everything, those are all buttoned up. But on my website, it's really been neglected. I had, click here and it opens up to just a Google link where people could just download. And I was leaving so many leads like off the table. So what I did here is I updated those freebies so then they looked cleaner, updated fonts, updated graphics. Because I use Kajabi and you can also use Flowdesk or anything else that you want to use, I made a landing page where they have to insert their email in order to get the download. And then they get tagged in my system as like PZT because my original name was, do you remember what it is? Comment below if you remember what it is. PZT-download. So then I have them tagged in my system. And then when they insert their email, they get an automatic email. So now I'm increasing my sales because there were so many freebies that I had during this month that I was just like, boom, boom. The traffic was just soaring. I looked at my Google Analytics and I decided which blog posts are currently driving the most traffic. And I'm gonna start with those first because those are bringing more people to my site and they're gonna get me the most leads right away. So that's how I knew how to prioritize my work. It wasn't that I wasn't going to do all of them, it's that I wanted to make sure I was being strategic in my order because time is precious and we don't have a lot of time. So I ended up making this opt-in. I ended up creating, like I said, this mini email funnel. So you insert your email, then you insert your email and then you get the download. And then in that same email, I also say, if you like this, you might also like blank. And then I also have one other email that goes to them right after they make the download a couple of days later. And then now I have them tagged. So even though now my focus is Teacher Marketing Academy, which is my big, huge marketing mindset course that helps tons of teachers, and Teacher Marketing Society, which is a monthly accountability membership. Even though that's what I'm focused on right now, I still now send a monthly newsletter to all of those leads and drive them back to my store. And this has allowed me to see massive traffic back to my site or my TPT store instead of just solely relying on just TPT to work its thing. To see that number roll up at the end of the month and see that it was more than what I made that same month the year prior when so many people's like sales were dipping, and knowing that these just small changes can make this big difference, I felt super proud that a lot of the things that I'm teaching y'all and I'm talking about, I put that into practice in my own TPT store. Of course, I'm doing it in Teacher Marketing Academy, and of course, I'm doing it in Ed Tech. I mean, we can only do so much, right? Being able to implement it here, I felt was just really fulfilling to see that number roll in. And so that's why I'm documenting this experience, is because yes, I still bring a lot of income on TPT, and I've done that without having touched it in a really long time, like heavily. And so I want to make small changes like this and share this experience with you, because I understand times are tough. I understand you're like robbing Peter to pay Paul when it comes to, do I spend time with my family, or do I go over in the kitchen and work for an hour, and do I feel like I'm missing out? Like, I understand that everything you do is a sacrifice. I understand that even watching this video right now is a sacrifice of something that you could be doing for something else or someone else. And so thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't yet, I would love for you to subscribe and click the bell so you never miss a teacher marketing video with me again. Comment below and let me know what is one small change you are choosing to make for your business in the next 2 weeks. We don't even have to say the next week. I would love to cheer you on along the way. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.